Hi, friends, and thank you for joining me for this episode of Sit With It. Today, I want to tell you the story behind a journey we took as a foundation and why we believe this journey matters for all of us who care about equity, community, and how we make decisions together. In 2023, the Snow-Redfern Foundation commissioned a study. We wanted to understand how grant-making practices in Nebraska, especially those related to youth and community inclusion, were experienced on the ground. We were especially curious about participatory practices, how organizations are engaging the people most affected by their programs in the actual decision-making process, not just in feedback, but in leadership. Why did we do this? Well, because we were feeling the tension between our good intentions and our old structures we were still using. We had heard from grantees and partners that the current grant-making landscape can feel burdensome, inequitable, and out of step with the realities many nonprofits face, especially smaller organizations and those serving historically marginalized communities. We wanted to learn directly from nonprofit leaders and funders across the state. What's working? What's getting in the way? And how can we do better together? Here's what we found. First, while many folks are aware of participatory practices in theory, most are still in the early stages of figuring out how to implement them. People are eager, but the path isn't always clear, and the language can feel too academic or abstract. Second, both funders and nonprofits want more relationship-centered practices, things like open communication, trust, flexibility, and responsiveness. Yet, there's a significant gap between what nonprofits experience and what funders think they're offering, especially when it comes to participation in planning and decision-making. Third, grant-making still leans heavily towards restrictive practices. Short-term grants, rigid budgets, and complicated reporting requirements make it hard for organizations to be inclusive and adaptive. This especially impacts smaller nonprofits and those in rural or under-resourced communities. Here's the hopeful part. The study also surfaced clear and actionable recommendations for both nonprofits and funders. For nonprofits, it means investing in strategies that invite youth and community into leadership roles, make space for cultural humility and accessibility, and support internal staff development so participation can be sustained, not just symbolic. For funders like us, the invitation is just as clear. Offer more unrestricted funding and longer-term grants. Simplify application and reporting processes, and prioritize relationships over red tape through site visits, open communication, and flexible design. At the heart of all of this is one truth. If we want more equity, we need to share power. That means asking who's at the table and who isn't. It means recognizing lived experience as a form of expertise. And it means building systems that reflect the wisdom, not just of institutions, but of community. This study was a mirror, a map, and a moment of reckoning. And for us at Snow-Redfern, it affirmed that participatory practices are not just a nice idea. They're a moral and strategic imperative. We are committed to learning, evolving, and partnering in new ways. So, to all of our board members, grantee partners, young people, and fellow funders, thank you for walking this path with us. We hope this helps us become more intentional, more relational, and more accountable. Let's keep growing together. Thanks for sitting with it.